Yes, guys. Hello. Welcome to the SpursRelated podcast and YouTube channel. I hope you are doing very well indeed, or especially after that result on Saturday, which we're going to get into in just a minute. But Andre, how are you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm feeling very rejuvenated. What a win. What a way to absolutely just make a statement. Not to mention the record that was broken in that game.
Absolutely. And we'll get into that. Of course, Kane and Son smashing the Premier League combined record for number of combined goals together, goals and assists. And yeah, number 37 on Saturday. Just unbelievable. But listen, we're getting to that. We'll get into the review of the Leeds game. We'll get into the preview of the game in the FA Cup tomorrow. Huge game at Middlesbrough. Not an easy game. But listen, we've got a few of the Spurs relatables to welcome on in. Already 10 of you in here. Great support as always. AN Army first in here says that chant. And it's been in my head all day, by the way, Andre. I don't know if you know which chant I mean. I think I put it in the chat earlier. And
Yeah. I saw him. Wow.
I thought you were going to expose me then and like play the voice clip I sent in the Spurs-related chat earlier. But listen, it's been in my head all day. It's an absolute banger. A&R's spotted with the, give me a ginger from sweet. That's unbelievable. I love it. Rishi's in here saying, why you're not starting? We're starting now, my man. And he says, COYS, big yourself up, Rishi. Welcome on in. Hope you enjoyed that win on Wednesday? On Saturday. Crumbs, I'm getting my days mixed up. Big Boss Man says, woo! With the what's that guy's name? What's he called from WWE? I've had a complete mind blank again. But listen, big yourself up, big boss man. Who else we got in here? So Kane, the long shot, of course, as always. Nick says, big up, boys. Happy for the result. Great response from the boys. Harry Kane is the best player in the world. Wow, that is some statement. But Nick, I saw your Irish Hotspur fan cam. Absolutely loved it. Ric Flair, I'm getting corrected. Well, spot on, guys. Spot on. Ric Flair. The woo! Look, everyone's in there. But Mark's in here as well. He says, evening, lads. It was only Leeds, remember. Worst team we've played. I would agree. Leeds was shocking.
Yeah.
But let's get into that in just a minute. And on your bike, Scott's in here. Big yourself up. He said, big up, boys. COYS, big yourself up, mate. Thanks for joining us. We've already got 10 in the house. I'm sure that will grow as the podcast goes on. But listen, Andre, how are you feeling about that win? Obviously, on Saturday, got us on a nice term for the weekend. And how was it for you?
Oh, I thought it was we dominated that game. And again, like we had said, they had already let in 17 goals in their last 5 games. Now that you make it 6 games, they've conceded 21 goals in 6 games. That is a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, unbelievable how many goals they conceded. I think if you think about it, in 2 games in 1 week, they lost 6-0 to Liverpool and 4-0 to us. They lost 10-0 over 2 games. And like you said, 21 goals conceded in, 5 games? It's just unbelievable. But listen, Leeds are in big trouble. They've sacked Bielsa off the back of this. Bielsa being their absolute hero. All the Leeds fans love Bielsa. And we've sent them to that extent of sacking their manager. I know it was on the brink for a little while, but listen, they've got some bigger problems than us. And although we think we've got some problems, they seriously do. But listen, we're sticking on Spurs related. We're not Leeds related. But A&R says Kane's passing is better than De Bruyne and Fernandez's. And also Kane saying Kane's passing like De Bruyne, but shooting like Lewandowski. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I think Kane on his day, he really is one of the most amazing players I've seen. On his day, he can pick a pass from wherever, take a shot from wherever, and it'll go in. Obviously, I wish that it was a consistent performance I wish that was what we saw day in and day out. But I'll take Kane being like that every other game rather than it not happening at all, like at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's taken him a little while. Like everyone was getting a little bit concerned about Kane, but at the end of the day, class and always rises to the top. The cream always rises to the top, and yeah, you're spot on, Andre. Like he's obviously been struggling, but this is an example why he's a world class player, because those world class players come back into form, and it looks like he really has. Like Man City was unbelievable. The game at the weekend was unbelievable. Kate Burnley maybe a little bit of a blip, but I'd still say he was one of our best players on the pitch.
Mhm.
he's kind of, I think the turning point has probably been this year, like this calendar year. I think that's when he's really kicked on. We saw good signs of him against Liverpool at the end of the year last year. But I mean, the guy is absolute mustard when he's on his form. When he's on his game, there is kind of no one better than him. I would say in world football as a striker because, listen, Lewandowski is probably the best finisher, but Harry Kane is an incredible finisher, has incredible vision, incredible passing, incredible crossing. Just that man can do everything apart from take set pieces, as we know. But listen, he really is the complete striker. He's unbelievable. Um, for me, I just think we need to stay consistent now. Obviously, we've got Middlesbrough in the cup tomorrow. We have to get through that and progress in the FA Cup. It's important to get some kind of trophy under our belt as well. Like Liverpool just won the Carabao yesterday, but you know the FA Cup's wide open. We need to make sure we're progressing, and we can't take Middlesbrough as any kind of weak team because they beat Man United at Old Trafford, by the way, which isn't easy. But A and Army's saying seeing so many people downplaying Kane this season, being very underrated this season. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I'd say he was. The critics were there at the start of the year, and that was for a reason. And that's because at the end of the day, you know, his heart has been elsewhere, and we were concerned that, you know, maybe we're never going to get prime Harry Kane back on our side because he obviously wants to go to Manchester City. But at the end of the day, he's got his head down this calendar year. He's forgotten about that, and he's really looking like he's enjoying his football again, right, Andre?
Yeah, it's great to see that passion. Like I'd said a few episodes ago, I really thought that when he would score against those smaller teams, especially when we were in the Conference League, he just kind of was like, okay, I scored, you know, whatever. But only recently have I seen those scenes that you get when he scores those bangers, just against Man City, and yesterday against Leeds. Like it's like the passion is back, and that's what I like seeing.
Yeah, that passion really is back. Exactly. And I think Kane put up here just needed a month with Conte being on fire ever since. On your bikes, loving the free kicks reference. Aaron's in here. Big yourself up, Aaron. I hope you're doing well after that win. Mark Cousins saying the passing of Hoddle, the finishing of Jimmy Greaves. What do you think of that?
Good statements, 100%.
I like that statement. I like that a lot. And I'm saying I think we need to play Doherty against Middlesbrough. We have to find out if we can carry out that performance against Leeds, against other teams. Listen, Doherty, we're going to get into it now, but Doherty was unbelievable on Saturday. I don't know what happened. He turned into prime Cafu. You know, that guy was bombing up and down that wing with real sort of prowess, and actually defensively he was decent as well, tracking back. So I don't know what happened to the real Matt Doherty, or maybe we got the real one back. Who knows? But listen, that's the best I've seen him playing the Spurs shirt for sure.
Yeah, same thing with me. But, you know, I was saying for many times, we brought in a right wing back to play at a right back role, which I thought was very, very silly, to be honest. But what a coincidence. All of a sudden, he's playing in his natural position and he's playing better. Not saying that it'll always be as good as that, but the fact that he is playing better shouldn't be a surprise to people.
I just never understood with Nuno why he didn't play a five at the back. I mean, at the end of the day, he was playing five at the back at Wolves. That's where Doherty came from, and that's where Doherty played his best. Why did Nuno ever he didn't seem to try the five at the back. It was always very much a four at the back system, and that's what always confused me so much about Nuno. I didn't quite understand his thinking.
I can understand a little bit. It was kind of an anomaly. We brought him in. We all knew that he wasn't the first choice, and he knows that he wasn't the first choice. And
But why didn't he try his best?
Well, because I think the pressure of coming to a club that he knows if he makes like one or two mistakes, it's out. He, instead of just bringing the Nuno culture to Tottenham, he just tried to align himself with the Tottenham culture, and it didn't work. You know, why play four at the back? You're a five at the back guy, so play that. That's what we brought you in. We didn't bring you in to try and do what we were doing before. Just bring your culture into here, right? That's why we brought Conte in, right? Like he's gonna play a type of formation that we normally don't play, but that's what we brought him in.
Yeah, very true. Mark's saying he's not Doherty anymore. He's Doha Kane. Yeah, the guy's suddenly started playing unbelievably. I mean, that ball across to Sessegnon was really, really good. And Leeds defence should have obviously done better. But also, he nearly scored as well, Doherty. I don't know if you saw Sessegnon put the ball across in almost a mirror image of the first half. And it nearly paid off. It nearly happened. And
Yeah.
Kane saying Levy didn't want Nuno to play a five at the back. Well,
That's then why hire him? Why hire?
I
If
know.
that's
I know.
true, honestly, Levy deserves a slap. Why hire a guy who plays five at the back if you don't want him playing five at the back?
Well, listen, Nick's also saying, remember, Levy did not like Nuno's style. Paratici had to convince Levy he could be aggressive, never let him play his system. And in the day, that's what happens when Levy gets involved with the stuff on the pitch. He has no clue about football. He's a chartered accountant. He's not a professional, he's not a professional football manager. He's not a coach. He's not a scout. Daniel Levy makes sure our books all total up and everything. And at the end of the day, that is why he shouldn't be getting involved in the footballing stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll be saying Cess is turning into his Fulham self, very bright talent. I actually had a conversation in a Twitter space earlier about Sessegnon, and we'll get into that again in a minute. But I thought he played really well again, and actually, obviously got the assist for Doherty. But people are saying, oh, he's very average. Yeah, he did all right, but listen, he's not as good as Reguilon. I think we can do that as a talking point in a minute. I'm going to start doing the talking points thing again, but I want to obviously get into the main sort of nuts and bolts about the Leeds game. And listen, without further ado, what a better way to start it than obviously what's talked about at the very start, and that is obviously Kane and Son, record breakers. Where do we start, Andre? I mean, obviously it's been a long time coming in terms of they've been that close for a little while now, and it was always going to be a situation where they do break it. But listen, 37 goals. Harry Kane and Son become the deadliest Premier League duo. Kane has 269 games and 174 goals with 37 assists, which totals up at 100. It totals up at 211 goal contributions in 269 games, which is ridiculous. Son is 219 games played, 80 goals, 44 assists, which contributes to 124 goal contributions in 219 games, which is also ridiculous. But listen, the whole stat that they broke was 37 goal combinations between them, i.e. Kane setting up Son or Son setting up Kane 37 different times in their Spurs career. I mean, what an achievement to go ahead of the likes of Frank Lampard and Didier Drogba. For me, it's just absolutely phenomenal. Those kind of stats are hard to beat, especially with those kind of duos in the Premier League. I mean, they go above Anderson and Sheringham, obviously once the Spurs. With 27, they go above Henry and Pires of 29 goals. I mean, Henry and Pires, arguably one of two of the best attackers in Premier League history, and that's coming from a Spurs fan. I mean, they were unbelievable. Like when I was growing up watching Thierry Henry, he was unbelievable, that guy. Aguero and David Silva, again, two legends of Man City, 29 goals. And Drogba and Lampard, 36 goals between those two. And Son and Kane moved above them. And obviously the first thing a lot of people are going to say is, well, where's the trophies to kind of go with that, in terms of being the legend. But this is why these guys deserve it so much. We can sit here and say that they've got the best stats and the best goal contributions between them, but listen, they haven't got a trophy to show for it, and they don't get a trophy for doing this. But at the end of the day, it just recognizes how key these two players have been for us over the last sort of 5-6 years, how important they are for us, and where would we be without them, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And the cool thing is that the season's not even over yet. They still have, a whole season. They still have a few more months left to keep pushing that record up. And if Kane does stay, apparently what I've seen on the news is that Levy will be backing Conte. That's probably why everything's died down now. He's probably had a meeting, been like, nope, I will back you. Don't worry. Just see this through. In the summer, we'll get more players. So if Kane does stay and Son is still there, that record's just going to keep going up. Good luck to whoever wants to try and beat that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, like, Heung-min Son and Kane are approaching 30 years of age. So I think they still have a good couple of years in them. But then the question is, like, is Harry Kane going to stay past this summer? That's a whole nother talking point, right? But I mean, what I've seen in the last few weeks, Kane seems quite settled at Spurs, especially with obviously his performance is really going up a notch recently. I'd say up a few notches. So, listen, I, I think you're right. I think this record is just going to grow and grow and grow. But also, I think, like I said at the very start, there's no trophy to show for this, but they really do deserve it. And it's all very well me sitting here and saying they deserve it, but we've got to go and like give them what they deserve. At the end of the day, Harry Kane's unsettled for one reason and one reason only. Well, two reasons and two reasons only. One is he's not playing Champions League football at the moment, and two, he's fed up of not winning trophies and getting so far and near and not winning anything. So we have to put a statement down, which is why it's so important that the FA Cup is something that's a real, aspiration of ours this year. It's all very well. I saw a poll earlier on Twitter, like, oh, what would you rather win, the FA Cup or get top four? For me, it's a no-brainer. We haven't won a trophy for 14 years. I mean, you can win the FA Cup and get Europa League football. I think that sounds perfect right now. I mean, Champions League football, we're going to get absolutely ruined in at the moment. Let's be honest. Like,
Yeah.
We lost to Burnley at Turf Moor. I'd rather win a trophy, get in Europa League, and try and win that. I mean, we were so close to winning the Europa League, and then we lost to Dynamo Kiev. I mean, and we want Champions League football. I'd love Champions League football, but I'm a realist. At the end of the day, we can't beat Burnley, right?
No, that was the perfect statement. Honestly, that's what I've been saying. I would rather we win a trophy, make top 5. It will be a blessing in disguise because we're not ready for Champions League football. We will get absolutely wrecked in the Champions League. Where you go back a few years ago and we barely made it out of the group stage that time that we went to the final. We had a lot of games where it was very close, and we made it to the final, but still Conte is going to be stressing out a lot over that stuff, and he's going to be very upset when we get into the Champions League and we get battered. So I'd rather we go into the Europa League, win an FA Cup. It shows not only that we can get it over the line, but to just trust in the Conte process. We get back in the summer. We do very well in the Europa League. We win the Europa League, and then we even try and maybe go for a top 4, or maybe even for the league. Who knows? Maybe going for the league. Who knows? But and then the third season, that's where we really go for it. But by then, we've built a really good squad, had enough windows to get rid of some deadwood and bring in proper players. And not only that, but players will see that the Conte system is working because he will have done something that hasn't been done for many seasons, which is win a trophy.
Yeah, exactly that. Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think what you're saying there, Andre, is bit by bit, right? We can't just have Conte come in and expect to win the league, expect to get top 4, expect to win a trophy. Like, this is a building process. We know we're in the process of a huge rebuild. Like, at the end of the day, we've literally got to a point now where we've got rid of half the dead wood, but we've still got to get rid of a lot of the dead wood. Like players like, players like Doherty, but maybe not after the weekend, right? But listen, we know the players that need to go. We know the players, the likes of Sanchez, Winks. Even in areas where it's up to debate, we have to improve on the squad. Players like Ben Davies, left centre backs, paper over the cracks. I'm going to get that in there every podcast. But listen, we have to move on as a club, and I think it's going to take time. It doesn't take one window. It doesn't take 2 windows. It takes 3, 4, or 5 windows to really build on this and really rebuild. And we can't expect to go from, Nuno or even Mourinho and Nuno a 7th place club and not getting results into suddenly getting Conte and thinking we're going to win the league and we're going to get top 4 and we're going to get, a trophy. It's not going to happen like that. We're going to have to get one thing this year. I think we have to either win a cup, we have to get into the Europa League or Champions League, or we have to really be looking at, I don't think there's an excuse why we shouldn't get top 6 this year. There's no excuse. And maybe people are saying, well, we should be getting top 4. But at the end of the day, we're not going to necessarily win anything this year. But I certainly think we should be looking at winning the FA Cup this year. There's no reason why we can't. Like, at the end of the day, shocks happen. Look, there's big clubs already out of the FA Cup. Arsenal lost to Nottingham Forest, or are they a big club? But listen, you get the point. You get the point, right? Man United lost to Middlesbrough, so there's still good teams left in the FA Cup. Obviously, Liverpool are still in the FA Cup, and so are the other big boys. But but there's no reason why we shouldn't be kicking in. I'm going to
Yeah.
get through a couple of comments because there's actually nearly 20 people in there. Big yourselves up, guys. Andre of Spike Scott's really good point. He says, out of the 37, 18 were Son and 19 were Kane. You don't get much more even than that. That's a really good point. Wow,
Yeah.
that's a great one. I like that stat. A&R saying time flies by so quickly. Only seemed like yesterday when they were 26 in the 18-19 season. That's crazy to think that, right? That is
Yeah.
crazy. And now
Yeah.
they're nearly 30, right? Big up, lad, says Bobby K. Hope you had a good weekend. Big yourself up, Bobby K. Hope you had a nice one in Canada. Hope it's not too cold out there at the moment, although Andre will probably tell me it is.
It's all right. It's getting warmer. There's still snow, though.
Oh, wow. A&R saying, if Inter Milan is considered one of the weaker clubs in the UCL, imagine what we would be like. Exactly. I mean, I think Inter Milan would probably beat us at this rate. JG said, I'd defo take a Europa run, but it's about progression and don't force it. Yeah, exactly this. I think, for example, what West Ham are doing right now is where we should be. And I know that sounds ridiculous. West Ham are still pushing for top 4. They got a good result against Wolves at the weekend. They're arguably within 3 or 4 clubs that can get top 4 still. And they're in Europa League, and they're kicking on in other competitions. For me, West Ham are where we should be right now, if not further up. Imagine saying that a few years ago. We should be where West Ham are. And this is unfortunately where Spurs have fallen and rivals have actually grown in strength. And we really need to be hitting those kind of heights, because it's not dizzy heights. We've been in the Champions League season after season after season. We've been in cup finals season after season. We have to get over the line, and we have to establish ourselves once again. But it's a really good point here, JG. Mark Cousins says 31 years since the last FA Cup. I was a young man then. I mean, listen, there's been a lot of our fan base would have never seen a trophy. Mark, like that's the concerning thing. Like 18 years ago, a lot of the younger fans have never seen a trophy. It's just absolutely crazy. We can't keep having this. Sidan says, calm down, guys. We aren't winning anything this season. We just lost to Wolves and Burnley. Listen, Sidan, you could argue in a way that Man City aren't winning anything because they lost to Spurs. It doesn't. Football's a weird game. Like, anyone can beat anyone on a day. Anyone can beat anyone on the given day. And I see what you're saying. And this is why I'm saying I don't think Champions League maybe is right for us, because I think we would get absolutely battered. But you can still go on a cup run and run your luck and hope other teams get knocked out and then get to the final. It's what happened in the Carabao Cup last season. You know, we ended up having Brentford in the semi-final. We were the championship team at the time. You know, you just don't know how your run to the final is going to go. And listen, we could beat Middlesbrough, then we'll be in the quarterfinals, right? Then there's only 2 more games after that, and you're in the final. So there's everything to play for in this FA Cup for me. There really is. Bobby K saying, I'd rather be rather my team be in a competition that we have a chance to win than be in a competition that we're just going to be battered in and have our team morale completely go down the toilet. What are your thoughts on that, Andre?
No, I agree. It's exactly adding what we're saying. We're not. I don't think our team is ready for a Champions League, to be honest, unless we were to do a complete overhaul over the summer, which that'd be very hard to do. I think most people here who are being very realistic about the situation would take a top 5 if we win an FA Cup. I think winning a trophy, doing something that hasn't been done for many seasons, would I think boost the morale a lot. It would show a change that hasn't been done in a while. Top 4, we made top 4 a few seasons ago, and we did it for a while, and we didn't do anything with it. We just kept, bottling it. But I think not bottling it, winning a trophy and going into a competition that if we do the right upgrades, we could actually win it. I think that is a much better action plan for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. 100%. You got to be realistic with what you're going to get into. Like, we could get in the Champions League and just get embarrassed every time, and that's no fun. Although it's good financially, it's not good to watch, and it's not good. I want to be in a competition where we got a chance of winning. I think that's the key statement here. The first 10 words there. Kane, the long shot, saying we made it into a UCL final in a season we didn't particularly play well. Anything can happen in a tournament. It's exactly what I'm saying. Like, no one expected Spurs to ever get to a Champions League final, right?
Yeah, everyone thought it was going to be Ajax versus Barcelona, and it ended up being the complete opposite teams. So, I mean, whoever made that bet, sure made a lot of money. But yeah, you never know what can happen. We were not in very good the last half of that season in the Premier League. We drew. I think we were drawing many games, right? We didn't win that many. We were not in good form, yet somehow we got it over the line to get to the final. We didn't win it once again,
Yeah,
and I think that's the difference here. We need to win something. I would take an
exactly.
ethic.
Exactly. Yep. 100%. And I'll be saying, tough month ahead for us. Perfect way to get us motivated is to progress in this competition. Spot
Yeah.
on. But listen, let's move on. Keep on the Leeds topic now. But let's just quickly review some of the performances. So we've already spoke about Matt Doherty. Unbelievable for me. Whipping up and down that line, was consistently available for passes on and got fed a few times. Obviously got a goal, nearly assisted another one. Oh no, he did assist one goal. He assisted Kulusevski and nearly got another assist and scored a goal. For me, he's up there with the man of the matches. I don't know who officially got it in the end, but listen, he was up there for me as a top 3 Spurs player, along with probably Kane and Kulusevski on Saturday. I thought they were all unbelievable. Kulusevski, obviously, the man from Sweden. Number 21, his name is Kulusevski. What a chant that is, by the way. But listen, he was unbelievable. He's really proven to be a good player. Even cutting in on his left, you think it's predictable, and it should be predictable. But the Leeds defense was all over the place, and that's another matter. I think Leeds was shocking. But listen, he did really well on that goal, cut inside, and a really strong finish. Like he banged that into the bottom right corner, right? And he's really starting to look at home on the right hand side for Spurs, and I feel like I feel a little bit for Lucas Moura. I feel like he's properly out of favour now, and potentially I can see him maybe moving on in the summer, because obviously we've got him, we've got Bergwijn, and then there's obviously talks of us even we're linked back with Noni Madueke, who we sold to PSV. There's obviously other links to different players, and does he fit? Still Lucas in this team. You got to say at the moment the man in form is Kulusevski. But listen, what are your thoughts on Kulusevski, Doherty, Kane, and maybe any other standout performances you got from that game, Andre?
Well, let's see. I think if he scores one more goal, he will have scored more goals than Bergwijn did on his initial season. He was also brought in January.
And actually, hang on a minute, because I don't think Bergwijn scored more than 4 goals in the Premier League full stop, has he?
Well, like since coming in?
Yeah, hang on. So Steven Bergwijn has scored 6 Premier League goals for Tottenham, and by the way, 2 of them came in January. So he scored 6 Premier League goals in his entire Spurs career, and Kulusevski has already scored 2.
Yeah.
So he's scored a third of the goals in 5 games as Steven Bergwijn has scored in, I believe, about 50 appearances.
Well,
no,
I
49 appearances, 6 goals.
I think if Kulu can get himself to 4 goals by the end of the season, it's gonna say a lot. It's gonna be really a pick of the.
I think
actually that might almost seal the deal for Bergwijn if he doesn't put any.
I think he's going to Ajax. I'm calling it now. I think he's going to Ajax. Clip me now. I think he's gone. But we truly saw the Conte system working on Saturday. Our wing backs are running non-stop, and we're in the right areas. And listen, I can't wait to get. I've had a complete mind. Reguilon back. Reguilon for me will be even better than Sessegnon in that position. We were really starting to see the best of him, and obviously got COVID, and I believe he's actually got a knock as well, hasn't he? But listen. It'll be good to see him back. And although Sessegnon, do you think he can get dropped at the moment? I don't know. I would personally, but I mean, I know Sessegnon's been really good since he's come in, and it's really good to know that we've got a good backup.
Conte has been saying that he's backing him. He trusts him. Look, look what a run of games has done for him. He's really improving almost every game. I do think there's much to be improved, but I do think that he's gotten much better. I think maybe have him start and then sub him off, have Reguilon play a few more, depending on how he's doing. But keep the momentum going, because the idea is we want a team where we can rotate the squad and not feel such a huge downgrade when we do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spot on. Mark's saying Doherty was good because Romero was behind him. Yeah, agreed. Kane's also saying, when was the last time we had each of our front three score a goal? Kane, Son, Decky, with the goals. Yeah, it's hard to actually say about that one. I think against Crystal Palace, Lucas and Son scored, but I don't think Kane did. But listen, the front three, it's almost like a, dare I compare it to like a Son, Salah, Mane, and Jota. I mean, them scoring most games together. It's promising, right? It's promising. I know it's against Leeds. Maybe we shouldn't be getting carried away, but listen, let's move on. And well, apart from on your bike saying Cess needs a good run of games, but unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get it with Reguilon back. I just don't. But listen, Andre, let's move on to the Middlesbrough game. In our second part of this podcast, guys, I hope you're enjoying it. And if you are enjoying it, make sure you hit the like button because it obviously really does help us out. We really appreciate the support. And this show is nothing without you guys. And obviously, one thing I didn't mention at the start was obviously apologies. We couldn't be live after the game on Saturday. I did put in our community section, and that's where I am updating you guys as much as possible. Myself and Andre update you on if we're going live or if we're not going live for a particular reason. But listen, on Saturday, I had family commitments. It was a family member's birthday. That's why we didn't go live. But literally every other game, as you know, we're always live after the game, reacting to the game. And of course, we're going to be live tomorrow after the game, aren't we, Andre? After the Middlesbrough game. So, guys, expect us live at around sort of what kickoff tomorrow. Kickoff tomorrow, I believe, is a weird time. I believe it's 7:55. Yeah, 7:55. So we'll probably be live. Well, we'll definitely be live about 10 to 10 tomorrow night after the game on here. So make sure you check that out. But listen, guys, yeah, we appreciate your support and all the likes and the subscribes. But let's move on to Middlesbrough tomorrow. Andre, as always, you've done the great work and you've done your research, your stats on the opponents. We always pick out someone that scores or does something in the game. Southampton, James Ward-Prowse, we said watch out for him. He dominated the game. He scored a goal. He dominated us. We lost the game. Wolves, I was calling about Jimenez. Watch out for Jimenez. You even said Dendoncker as well, by the way. But listen, and we called that. And what was the last game? Man City, obviously, we said players, but they didn't turn up. And then the game against Leeds, we said about Rafinha, and we said about
Daniel James as well. That didn't
Daniel
happen.
James, and they didn't happen. But listen, maybe we'll call it. Hopefully, we don't call it because listen, we don't want these players doing well. But we've got to research the opponents. We've got to let you guys know who to watch out for tomorrow in that Middlesbrough team. Maybe you guys don't know a lot about the Middlesbrough team, with them obviously being a Championship team. Maybe a lot of you do. So get your comments in, guys, if you know about the Middlesbrough team and who you should think should be someone we really need to watch out for tomorrow. But listen, let's get into the first player that we were reviewing today. Over to Andre for a bit of analysis on this guy. Very familiar face, by the way.
Yeah, so from our three picks that we have today, we've picked Paddy McNair, the center back. 26 years old. He has scored 4 goals and 2 assists from 32 matches, which is actually a lot more than a good chunk of these players at this club. And it's, I think it's a very, very good stat for a center back to have that. He has also a 79% pass completion, 71% tackle success. He used to play for Manchester United back when he was much younger. During that time, he had scored 5 and assisted 2. But yeah, so he's got, he's had big clubs look at him before. I guess he must have fallen off, but he's doing well for Middlesbrough and under Chris Wilder.
Yeah, exactly that, Andre. And listen, this guy used to play for Man United. Like he's no stranger to Premier League opposition. He used to play for Man United. He played for Sunderland at one point as well. But I believe when they were in the Premier League. So listen, Paddy McNair is a decent player. He plays for his national team in Northern Ireland. He's an all-round decent player, and at the end of the day, we have to be on our A game to actually beat Middlesbrough defence. And to some of you, that might sound absolutely ridiculous. But listen, Middlesbrough are a team in the Championship. Championship teams are actually difficult to break down, especially Middlesbrough, who are actually a top half of the team, Championship team. They're obviously knocking on the door for playoffs. this team is hard to break down. We might think, oh yeah, 4-0, 5-0 Spurs. Listen, I think it's going to be tighter than that. And obviously, we'll give our score prediction at the end. But Paddy McNair has been one of the reasons for their success, especially after Chris Wilde has joined. Paddy McNair plays most games for them. And like Andre said, 6 goal contributions in 32 games for a centre-back. That's pretty decent. That's better than most of our centre-backs. So, listen, this guy has to be a threat in the air as well from set pieces. Let's hopefully not curse this one on Jay, but you made a very good point. This guy's scored 4 goals in 32 games as a centre back. That's actually decent stuff. We said about Bergwijn scoring 6 goals in his whole Spurs career.
Yep. And don't forget, when it comes to Tottenham and set pieces, it's kind of scary. So let's try not to give him too much opportunity here.
Although Eric Dyer's leadership.
He did play the Manchester United game as well. So, and Manchester United, he gave Manchester United a run for its money, and in the end, Middlesbrough made it through. So,
exactly that. And listen, I think we've got to be careful with this guy. I really do. And I know he's just made a really good point in chat. He says these championship teams will give it their all. To have an opportunity to go against a Premier League side is a rare thing. And not to mention they beat Man United with world-class players. I mean, Ronaldo was playing in that game. That says a lot in itself. I mean, obviously Ronaldo missed a penalty in that game, but listen, these guys they're a solid team, and I don't actually think. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think they're conceding many goals a game. Like I can't remember the last time I saw Middlesbrough getting absolutely battered. I mean, so they're 8th in the Championship, which is 2 places behind the Championship playoffs, which is actually only 2 points off. And their last few games have been a 3-2 loss at Barnsley, which looked like a mad game at the weekend. But then 2-1 against West Brom, who West Brom are also well up there as well. In the Championship table. Actually, they've fallen off a bit, but listen, West Brom are always going to be a team challenging for the Premier League. And then they beat Derby 4-1, 2-2, 1-0 win, 2-1 win, 2-1 win, 2-0 win, 1-0 win. So the point is they're not conceding too many goals in each game. And to be honest with you, I would be concerned about Middlesbrough. I think they're a decent team. They've only conceded 35 goals this year in 33 games, so that's an average of 1 a game. Listen, I think we've got to be careful with maybe hyping up the fact we're going to win 4-5-0 here, Andre. What do you think?
Yeah, it's exactly the point. It's I think when we got past the last round of the FA Cup, we did talk about them a little bit, and we said how it's a different Middlesbrough that's been at it for like the past few months, ever since Chris Wilder joined. The guy knows how to play against Premier League teams, and he clearly made it work with the players he has against Manchester United. So we need to put the attention it needs on this upcoming match. They're not going to be that easy.
Yeah, spot on, Andre. They're not going to be easy at all. We really do have to be worried. And Kane made a really good point. Championship is a very, very tough league, and it develops mental monsters. We need to show 100%. And if not, you can end up like Man United. And JG said, I won't underestimate Boro, but Man United were hella wasteful in that game, and I would agree. But also, your first bit of that statement, do not underestimate them. Do not underestimate them, guys. I'm not going to sit here and say we're going to lose the game, but I'm going to sit here and say we're not going to smash them. I don't think it's going to be a heavy scoreline, especially on a cold night in Middlesbrough. It's not an easy place to go to. I don't think we're just going to rock up and get a 4-0, 5-0 win. I mean, obviously, I really hope we do, but I just cannot see it. They're a solid team. They really are a solid team, and especially at home as well. Like, that obviously gives them an advantage in itself. I just think we've got to be careful here. But listen, let's move on to the next player, Andre.
All right. So the next player we've chosen is Isaiah Jones. He is Chris Wilder's right-hand man. He plays in the right side, on the right wing. From 34 matches, he has 1 goal and 9 assists. May not seem like too much, but actually he is the top assists for his club. And he is in the top 10 of assists in the EFL Championship. In his last 5 matches, he has 2 assists already. And his pass completion, 77%, tackle success, 78%. So he's good. He's good in that midfield position. Like I said, Chris Wilder loves this guy. And Isaiah Jones in previous interviews has said how he has sort of found a new just a new player in himself. So we definitely got to watch out for this guy. He did play against the Man United game, was really passing the ball around with another player that we will talk about right after this guy. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. This guy, like you said, 9 or 8 assists in a certain amount of games. I mean, decent player. And the other thing to mention, I've just having a little look on my phone. He plays literally most minutes for Middlesbrough. He played 117 minutes against Man United, 90 minutes in his last 6 games in the Championship. No, 90 minutes in his last 9 games in the Championship. He just seems to be a player that Chris Wilder's really relying on to put in good performances for Middlesbrough. And listen, he always seems to be part of a winning side. Like, I mean, Middlesbrough from the end of November to the start of February went on such a good run. I mean, they went on a 1, 2, 3, 4. They won 10 games between the 27th of November and the 12th of February, and they in that period they only drew 1 and drew 2 and lost 1. So they won 10, drew 2, lost 1. Middlesbrough are an informed team. We've got to be really worried. Middlesbrough were down there. I remember they actually sacked or he walked, I'm not too sure, Neil Warnock. And actually, Neil Warnock was he's a legend of English football. You guys know who Neil Warnock is, and he was actually on Talksport the other morning when I was listening to it on the way to work, and he said, listen, Middlesbrough defensively, they're steely, they are resilient, and they're actually. He even said, like, he saw Davinson Sanchez when we played against Southampton. That was the day I listened to him. And he said these Middlesbrough players are much more solid and know what they're doing. They have a game plan. They literally know what they're doing over some of these Premier League players. And this is what I'm saying. Like, this same goes with Isaiah Jones. Obviously, Jones is more of a forward player. But listen, they know how to get a job done. They know what they're there for. They're part of a plan, a regime, and they stick to it, and it's successful, and that's why they're 8th in the Championship. And some of you might be sitting there and going, 8th in the Championship, we're 8th in the Premier League, and I'll be sitting there going, well, actually, the difference between the Premier League and the Championship, there is a difference in class, but actually, sometimes when you're on a roll in the Championship, you're a very hard team to break down. You're a solid team. And this is what Neil Warnock was saying. These centre-backs in this back 5 that Middlesbrough play, they all know what they're doing. They all know why they're there. And we've even had faculties where we've had Davinson Sanchez or Rodon or Tanganga where it doesn't quite work. These 5 players are solid. These defensive players are solid for Middlesbrough. I'm going to say it time and time again. People in the chat may agree or may not agree, but I do think we have got to be wary tomorrow night.
Yeah, Chris Wilder coming in is what changed the form for them. That all of that, his record right now is so good, and Jones, he's only 22, so you can only expect him to get better. But yeah, this is why we picked him. He is a standout for them. He is his right hand man.
Absolutely, Andre. Absolutely great research. And listen, Army said Man United showed us how to not play against Middlesbrough. They played very unselfishly, which means that we have to play as a team and as a unit. Like this Middlesbrough team plays as a unit. We saw that in just the Middlesbrough game against Man United alone. To go with my point, SOF's in here. Big yourself up, SOF. Nice to see you. He said, if we get past Middlesbrough, I'll take anyone but Chelsea. Why didn't they miss loads of sitters against us? I suppose we did give them all the goals in the League Cup. Yeah, let's not talk about that game, but I get what you're saying. Kane's saying, I think I recall us keeping an eye on Jones. Yeah, do you know what? He reminds me very much of a Poch player where he kind of put his arm around him and say, like, you know, a bit like where he tried with Kyle Walker-Peters and he broke in. I remember that game where Poch introduced Kyle Walker-Peters against Newcastle on our first game of the Premier League season. I think it was in 2019. And Kyle Walker-Peters got man of the match. I can see this guy being a bit like him in terms of obviously not the same position, but a player that can really develop under a good coach that likes, giving young talent a good opportunity. I think this guy is really going to be a good player. Rishi says, gimme a ginger from Sweden. He came from Juventus. His name's Dejan Kulusevski. I butchered that, but guys, I absolutely love that song. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's in my head. I was going to put it on stream. But I think we'd get copyrighted because it's obviously got the ABBA music. But listen, that if you haven't heard it already, that Kulusevski song is an absolute banger. honestly, Andre's probably sitting there thinking like, what is going on right now? But honestly, the fan culture in the UK, we pick up on any old song or silly song and turn it into an absolute anthem for football clubs. It's just hilarious at the moment. The
Yeah,
chants going
very
around.
creative. Very creative.
Honestly, I love it. It came from Juventus and he plays on the wing. Come on, I love it. Wilder is a very good coach. Got good results against us with Sheffield United. That 3-1 away was brutal. I remember that. That was over lockdown, wasn't it? Oh, they
Yeah.
battered us that day. Honestly, if I could send us, I'd send several of our players to the Championship on loan. If you have the ability to make it, it will make a man out of you. This is why I wanted Brian Hill over to like someone like West Brom. I think he would have benefited more. But listen, the Championship is a good league. I watched it for years. It's a decent league. Do you guys think that Rodon deserves to even be on our bench? I think that's a talking point of his own, Rishi. Rishi, you come up with an absolute banging talking point there, but I think maybe we leave this kind of talking point for fan phoning Fridays. But giving you a basic answer now, I think he does deserve to be on our bench. There's no reason why he shouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I think on the long term, we're going to get rid of Rodon. I don't think it's really worked for him. I don't think he's given too much of an opportunity other than under Mourinho. Listen, but clearly there's a reason why he's not playing. Maybe he doesn't fit the five at the back system very well. I don't know, to be honest with you. I think that he should be on the bench. I think we've seen enough quality from him to be on the bench. But listen, I potentially do not think he should be chucked out of the squad. What do you think, Andre?
I think he needs to be given a chance. It's just it's really difficult to sort of be in a position to give this kind of player a chance where he's had some blunders. The Leeds game might have been the perfect one to give him a chance, to be honest. He should have been. That's why I think he does deserve to be on the bench, because in the moment where we might be battering a team, that's when you bring him on. Have him play with no pressure and see how he does, and then slowly put more pressure on him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, our back five kind of speaks for himself at the moment. Dyer obviously coming back, really commanding the defense. Romero right centre back, and he's really kind of helping Doherty on the right wing back position, and then left centre back. Obviously, Ben Davies kind of been there all season, and listen, he's made mistakes, but he's probably our best left-footed centre back at the moment. Paper over the cracks, as I'll say every podcast, but you can't knock him out. I just love saying it, Andre. I love saying it. I think I prefer to send Hill on loan to a team like Middlesbrough than Valencia. This is what I'm saying. It's exactly what I'm saying. But Hill is a Spanish international. Possibly didn't want to go to second division, so he gets called. So he gets call ups. Yeah, I get it. He's probably more likely he's getting the Spanish team.
Well, you know what? The way I see it, sometimes you got to take a few steps back to take even more steps forward. If your mindset is on the Spanish international team, and you want to go to La Liga to get better, well, you know what? I hope that you make the best of it and you come back a better player. Because if not, then you might be gone, buddy. Like, if you want to just be part of the Spanish squad, then maybe just stick to La Liga then. If look at Skip. He understands that going to the EFL Championship for a year might not get him a call-up anytime soon. But look how good he is. He took 2 steps back, 3 steps forward.
I think he'll probably end up going on a permanent to Spain. I really do. I don't think it's worked, and I also don't think he's going to get the opportunity now with our ginger man from Sweden. Listen, I don't think it's going to happen for him. I don't think we're going to hold on to him. But listen, that's again another talking point. But listen, let's move on, Andre, to our final player pick from Middlesbrough, who we should be wary of. Well, actually, we've got a bonus one as well, which we're going to talk about at the end. I can see that you put in there. But listen, who's this man?
This is Matt Crooks, a midfielder for this club. He has played center mid, center attacking midfield, center defensive midfielder. He plays all of them. He plays all the positions there. 28 years old. He's their top scorer right now from 32 matches. He has 9 goals, 2 assists. He scored the goal against Manchester United. As you can see, all those Manchester United players there in disbelief in the background. 74 pass completion, 75% tackle success. Definitely watch out for this guy. He is one of the key players for Middlesbrough. If we don't shut him down, we will get shut down.
Yeah. Well put, to be honest with you. Well put. And listen, why do we have to be careful of Matt Crooks? What's his main assets? What's his main, obviously, other than contributing to goals? What do you think Matt Crooks is? Who do you think will be marking him? Who do you think is the player that really needs to be, watching out for him? Obviously, like you said, he's kind of in that heart of midfield. But for you, who needs to be wary in this game?
Well, if Højbjerg's playing, I'd say Højbjerg should be on that guy all the time. Because Matt Crooks, like I said, he plays all three types of midfields depending on what Chris Wilder needs. He plays on the right side, right next to Jones. So there's that link there from the previous player we were just talking about. Whether it's to pass it to Jones forward or the other way around, he'll make his way into the box from crosses, from like that Manchester United game. And it's really one of those things where a lot of games can be won in the midfield, and it's this guy is one of the reasons why Middlesbrough is so good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just looking at his stats now. 30 games played. Like you said, with the goals and assists, but 9 yellow cards. He gets a yellow card every 3 games. He sounds a bit like Lamela to me. Well, actually, Lamela gets one every game. But listen, this guy, he's going to be a rock in midfield for them. And Højbjerg and Winks, it looks like will probably be playing in this game. Need to be really wary of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And again, that Jones and Crooks link up is also going to be a little deadly.
Yep. Spot on. SOF saying Hill is starting almost every game as well. He doesn't have the body for the Premier League, as Conte said, and just don't mark like Leeds. Yeah, we can't be marking like Leeds. But let's move on to the next player, the final player, the bonus player. I think I wanted to add one actually before you do talk about this bonus player, and there's a reason why this player is a bonus player. For Middlesbrough, I think the only player we haven't mentioned that I would watch out for tomorrow is their striker.
Yeah,
His name is Spora Andras, and he's Slovenian striker, 28 years old. He's got 8 goals, 2 assists in 27 matches played. He is a decent player. Came in from Braga actually, and used to play for Sporting Lisbon as well. So he's a decent player. He scored in his last game at the weekend, and listen, he takes penalties for them. I believe he's an all-round kind of out-and-out goal scorer. He just knows where the goal is. He goes on little spurts, like I'm seeing here. In December, he actually scored 3 consecutive games in a row between the 18th and the 29th in a busy December period. He pops up with a goal when it matters. He's scored in 1-0 wins. In tight games, he seems to get a goal when it matters, whether it's from the penalty spot or whether it's in. Yeah, this guy is a decent player. It's one we should look out for. And I just thought I'd mention that just because that is one I would have probably put in there if we made it 5. But listen, Andre, I'm going to give you the chance to talk about this guy. Who is this guy? I'm familiar with him. And actually, there is a reason why we're all familiar with him.
All right. So right before I talk about this guy, I will add, very good that you brought him up, James. If it was a top 4 players to look for, I would have added Sporar. The only difference is, to me, I just felt that the other players we had that I put in, they seemed like they were putting in a lot more work, and Sporar has less goals than a midfielder. So yes, let's look out for a striker, but a striker's just doing his job. He's scoring. The fact that Matt Crooks, a midfielder, is scoring more goals than the striker, that I think that merits getting on the top 3. But 100% very good that you brought him up. If he does play, definitely look out for him as well. Let's move on to this guy, Folarin Balogun. The big thing with him, he is on loan from Arsenal. Let's please Tottenham, please don't.
Oh no, I can't come back to this. Space. I can't come back to this. Please, Andre.
Please don't give him space. He's got 83% pass completion, 83 tackle success. He played the Man U game as well. Not the full game, but he did play it. At the moment, 9 matches, 2 assists for the championship. So he's getting his goal contributions in there. But definitely Tottenham, Do not let him score. That is just he'll be making Arsenal proud from a different club. Please don't.
Oh
Please.
no, I don't. I can't. Honestly, I cannot deal with it. I cannot deal with it if this happens. I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah, well, this is a bonus one we just thought we'd mention because of the Arsenal links here. If I, we felt like it would make we had to talk about the elephant in the room, which is the Arsenal player that will be playing tomorrow for
Yeah,
them in a
yeah.
different shirt.
Listen, we
Covert
gotta be
operation.
careful. We gotta be really careful. I cannot be sitting here tomorrow and saying like I told you so about Florian Balogun. I just can't be dealing with it, and we're gonna be getting so much slander if he pipes up and scores. Like
Yeah,
I can't even tell you how much. This is the guy we thrown in because we're gonna get seriously memed if he scores. But listen, great analysis, Andre, as always, guys. They're the players you need to look out for. As we've said, I'm gonna get them up on screen once more just to run back through them. Paddy McNair, watch out for him. Centre back, decent, solid, will cause problems. Kane and Son will need to be at the top of the game to get past him, as well as Kulusevski. Maybe Kulusevski gives us that physical presence against him as well. Then we got Isaiah Jones, decent little midfielder, right winger, more of a midfielder, decent player, got a number of assists, 9 assists this year. Then you got Matt Crooks, who scored at Old Trafford, decent player, like you said. Andre scored 9 goals, is it, and 2 assists?
yep. Top
Decent
scorer.
player, top scorer. Need to watch out for him, and it's going to be a busy game for Højbjerg and Winks. We need to be at the top of their game, even against Championship opponent guys. These guys are good, decent players. They're on the verge of being in the Premier League at the end of the day. They're probably better than Leeds at the moment. Put it that way. So this game's probably going to be more of a challenge than the Leeds. I really do think it will be. And then finally, as we said, Florian Balogun, watch out. He's ex-Arsenal. And guys, honestly, I say it once and I'm saying it. Well, I've said it a few times, but listen, watch out for him because at the end of the day, he's going to want to get one over us. He's an ex-Arsenal player. Well, he's still an Arsenal player. He's on loan from Arsenal. So he's definitely going to want to get one over us, right? This is his North London derby. So at the end of the day, we've got to be careful. But listen, let's quickly go through the form of the teams and the head-to-head records between Middlesbrough and Tottenham. So obviously Middlesbrough used to be a championship team. They are a championship team. Middlesbrough used to be a Premier League team, and the head-to-head record. I'll do quickly the head-to-head. So in the last 5 meetings, and bear in mind that the 5th meeting actually goes back as far as 2009, we actually beat them 4-0. Robbie Keane, Pavlyuchenko, Aaron Lennon got a brace, and that was a 4-0 win. But listen, the 4 recent games, 2016, 2017, and 2 2020 games. In 2016, we beat them 2-1 at the Riverside. Heung-min Son got 2 goals. I actually remember that game. That was when sort of his breakthrough season. Then we beat them 1-0 at White Hart Lane. Harry Kane got a penalty. Then we drew 1-0 at the Riverside. Ashley Fletcher got a goal, and then Lucas Moura equalised. That was in 2020. That was when they were in the FA Cup round of 32. And then we played them in a replay a couple of weeks later, and we won 2-1. Lo Celso got a 2nd-minute goal. Lamela got a 15th minute goal, and then they got a late goal, Saville. And I believe actually that was the game. Yes, that was the game when Tanganga was right wing back. Do you remember?
Yes.
And he played very well at right. I was right back, but it was more like a right wing back role he was playing. And he actually nearly got 2 assists in that game. And Tanganga was absolutely phenomenal in that game. He was bombing up and down the line. He got in several crosses, and that was really when Tanganga sort of broke through in that game. So that was 2020 January. So over 2 years ago now. That's the last time we played him. But listen, Andre, maybe you want to go through the form of Middlesbrough and the form of obviously Spurs, as we know.
Well, let's see. Middlesbrough at the moment, they have 2 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws from their last 5 games. And actually, one of their losses comes from Matt Crooks not playing. So that says a lot about the key aspects that is Matt Crooks. And he had a 2-game suspension, but he will be back for this game. He's been confirmed to be back. Another player, Mark Bola, who is actually a good player for them as well, has been confirmed to be back. But sorry, he will miss the Tottenham game, so that's something that's pretty good. But he has missed most of the campaign. I guess it's not too relevant, but that is the injuries. Other than that, though, Middlesbrough
They're
in
full
general.
strength.
They are full strength. So
Wow.
unlike us, they get to pick their best 11.
Amazing. Interesting stuff.
Yeah, they usually play a 3-5-2, or and they have again, like I said, the Crooks and Jones on that right side are very, very key for this game. So I think the left side of our squad will have a much bigger job to deal with, because actually Sporar, I think, also plays on the right side. He's the right striker of those two strikers up top. So Regulon, Davies, and yeah, good luck. Good luck. Hoiberg, you too, man. Good luck.
Yeah, they need to be at the top of their game. Absolutely, Andre. And it's concerning that they're full strength. But listen, we can't be worrying about what players they do and have and do not have available. At the end of the day, we need to be beating the best teams, the teams that are going to be tricky like Middlesbrough, and the teams that are beating big teams like Middlesbrough. So we have to be at the top of our game. And Winks is probably going to be playing tomorrow with Skip. I don't think he's fit to play. I think he's still having problems with this injury, and also obviously Bentancur is injured for a few weeks, which is obviously bad news. But listen, we have to be at the top of our game. I think it's going to be a hard game. It's over to the score predictions time, guys. Get your score predictions in the chat right now. I am going to give Andre the start as always, so no pressure, Andre. But I've got a score prediction in mind. I think it's going to be a tight one again, guys. But listen, over to Mr. Andre. And guys, get your score predictions in the chat if you want it read out.
I'm going to say we are going to beat them 3-1. I'm going to go with 3-1.
3-1. Wow. Okay. Explain.
I just think that the form that Son, Kane, and Kulu are right now, I think we will get it over the line as long as we are watching those guys that we mentioned, especially that right side. If we can control that right side, it'll be a piece of cake. But if we don't, it's going to be much more difficult. My original guess was going to be that we were going to beat them 2-1 in extra time, but I'm going with 3-1 in regular time.
Yep. Okay, 3-1.
3-1
Wow.
Okay, 3-1 in regular time. Yeah.
Okay, 3-1 in regular time. Wow. Okay, I'm going for the prediction. I think it's going to be tighter than a 3-1. I think I would probably have gone for more with your situation, but I don't think it's going to go your first guess. But I don't think it's going to go to extra time. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Spurs. And the reason being is I think Middlesbrough will score. I think they've got a decent, decent forwards. They've got decent midfielders that can score goals, as we discussed. And they've scored 2 goals at Old Trafford. I think they'll score 1 at home in front of their crowd, who really get the atmosphere going on a probably a cold night in Middlesbrough on a Tuesday night. It's a hard place to go to. They'll really be behind the team. They haven't won anything for years as well. So I think they're going to score a goal. I do. Even though we've potentially been better in defence recently, I do think they'll score a goal. But I also think we're too good for them. I think Kane, Kulusevski, and Son being on form, I think is key for us. And obviously, I do expect Kane to get a goal. And I'm probably going to say that I think that Kulusevski will get another goal. I think he's really kicking on. I'm even going to give you the score predictions today, Andre. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs win. I think that we'll score first, then they'll score. There'll be a bit of panic, and then we'll just get our professional Premier League game face on, and we'll get that goal maybe in the last 20 minutes. I do think Kane will score. I do think Kulusevski will score. And for them, I'm probably going to say this Sporar guy just because I called it as a little extra, on the player watches. But listen, I think it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a classic cup tie. I don't think Middlesbrough will be any turnover. I've said this. I think they're not going to be a pushover. I think they're going to be a good team. But listen, 2-1 is what I'm going for. 3-1 is what we're all going for. Let's see what the Spurs-related balls are saying. 2-1 for Kane, the long shot, as I've said. And same with Mark. They're going for 2-1. Seems like a common score prediction here. On your bike, Scott says 2-0 Kane and Kulu. He's gone with the Kane and Kulu. Simply A says, hello lads, sorry I'm late for the stream, been a bit busy. No worries, no need to apologise. We really appreciate you even being here for 2 minutes, and obviously you guys can watch any of it back on the offline recording. But he said, this has got Mr. Dr. Tottenham written all over it, 3-1 to Tottenham. Yeah, listen, absolutely spot on, Simply A. So I hope you're right, and that's what obviously Andre's gone for. He's gone for the 2-1. He said, very tiring game as our squad looks very shallow. It's a very key point, actually, maybe one we haven't covered, obviously, with the midfielders being light. Winks is probably going to play, but our bench will consist a lot of use, so a lot of players will have a chance to play the full 90. Yes, but on so let's just go through this. So three of you have said 2-1, one of you has said 3-1, and one of you said 2-0. And Harry Winks is going to struggle big time. We need to field our strongest team. And I think Middlesbrough play 3 centre mids as well. So listen, this is the problem we had against Wolves when we had 3 centre mids against Winks and not Højbjerg. It was Bentancur. Yeah, Højbjerg got benched, remember? So this one is actually going to be Højbjerg and Winks, probably. So listen, they could struggle against that 3, but guys, very good analysis, and always great talking points in this chat. And listen, guys, there's still 20 of you watching. Massively appreciate all the support today. Massively appreciate all the talking points. As always, this channel is nothing without you guys, so we really appreciate you tuning in once again. We will definitely be live this time after the match, 110% after the match against Middlesbrough tomorrow night around 10 p.m. Make sure you're in that waiting room. Make sure you're ready to give us your positive thoughts about the game. And if it's negative thoughts, we can, commiserate together. But let's not even think about that. We're going to talk about a win tomorrow night with Andre and myself tomorrow night, Tuesday. Enjoy the game. As always, Andre, thanks for joining me. As always, Spurs Relatables, thanks for being on here. Let's hope for that win. Let's hope to kick on in the FA Cup. Keep the positivity. Keep the great, support up. And listen, make sure you're singing that song at home. Remember how it goes, Andre.
I ain't singing it.
We'll leave it for another time. We'll leave it to sing on the match review. You guys know exactly what I mean about that ginger man from Sweden. But listen, guys, big up the support in the chat. And as always, we will see you tomorrow for that match review. Take care, guys. And come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Guys.